Hi pregnant mums. So today we are going to talk squats, and with some squat exercises and variations I'm going to go over today, we're going to incorporate some pelvic floor work with that as well. Now squats are a great exercise and a very safe exercise to do throughout your pregnancy, and they also help to prepare you for birth. So keeping your legs nice and strong, keeping the hips and the pelvis nice and open. Great position for baby to be in, creating lots of space for the baby and the belly as well. So let me take you through a few different variations of squats that you can do, and you can always stick to one or you can change between them, do what feels best and most comfortable for you, and we'll incorporate some pelvic floor exercises with that as well. So this is something that you can do a few times a week, very beneficial to help support you through pregnancy and to also prepare you for birth. So first one is just a normal standing squat. I'm just going to move the ball here. So taking your feet a bit wider than your hips. Obviously if you're further along, I'm almost at 20 weeks now. But yeah, if you're further along, you may need to take your feet wider or turn out a little bit. Hands on hips, or you can draw your arms in front, just taking a breath in to lower and a breath out to lift. And a nice way to think about it is as you exhale, gently lift through the pelvic floor muscles, push through the heels, create a little bit of a resistance on your way up. And you may do 10 to 20 of these. And there's lots of variations from a squat that you can take. Okay, you could hold some weights in your hands beside you. You could add in a little heel raise just to challenge your balance a little there. You can add in some pulses at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, and up. And always breathing. So we always want to be breathing when we're moving and feeling nice and open and comfortable. So that's one. Next, from a squat position, you can come down into your deep squat. Okay, so not everyone feels really comfortable in this position. A few variations that you can do from here is leaning up against a wall where your back's supported on a wall. You can place some cushions, blocks underneath your heels if you can't get your heels down. But just allowing the feet and the legs to open out nice and wide. You can take your hands wherever they're comfortable. We want to be leaning forward a little bit so that the belly and the baby's in a nice comfortable position. And then what we're just doing here is dropping, sinking, and letting the pelvis and the hips and the lower back open. And this is a really good one for the organs as well, helping to keep everything in its place. Great for the lower back. You might find holding it over a long period of time, it gets a little bit sensitive on your joints through your ankles and your knees and your hips. So just stay for as long as you can feel comfortable. I know my prenatal yoga teacher always says try to hold this for 5 minutes every day. So I do try to do this every day, probably not for 5 minutes, it may only just be for a minute, but I myself am comfortable in this position, and I have used this position throughout my births as well. So what we're going to do, wherever you are, we're going to hold this and we're going to add in a pelvic floor exercise. So on your breath in, we're going to gently elevate the pelvic floor muscles for the count of 5. Then I want you to hold the pelvic floor muscles for the count of 5. And then as you exhale, I want you to gently and gradually release the pelvic floor muscles for the count of 5. So we inhale to gently lift, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, gradually release, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And repeat, lift for 5. Hold for 5. Try to keep the muscles in your bottom relaxed and your hips and your thighs relaxed. And then exhale, release for 5. Just the pelvic floor, lift for 5. Hold for 5. And then gradually release for 5. And you're probably looking to do about 10 of these. And then at the end, just completely relaxing, releasing, deepening in. See if you can hold it here for a little bit longer, just breathing and surrendering into that deep squat. So there's a few variations that you don't need any equipment for. Just make sure you slowly, gently come out of that one. Another really nice option is to use a fit ball. So basically we take the fit ball onto a wall and we take our back onto the ball. And the ball will just kind of sit in that natural curve of your spine. Once again, have your feet forward in front of you just so your knees, if they're too far back, your knees will go over your toes. So feet in front. And this is probably a more comfortable exercise to do if you do have issues with ankle joints, knee joints, or if you're getting a bit more like SIJ, we don't want to be opening and over mobilizing. So if you're getting any difficulties through your SIJ, you might want to place something between your knees that you can squeeze to help create a little bit more stability through your pelvis. Otherwise, feel free to go wide, rest back on the ball, inhale to lower, exhale to lift. It's a little bit more supportive because your back can just rest back onto the ball. You don't want to be leaning all the way back. You're still upright. And then your knees are just tracking in line with your middle toes. Once again, you can start to add in some resistance and pelvic floor. So inhale down, exhale, push through the heels, lift the pelvic floor as you come up. Or you can even reverse that as well, which is a really nice variation, especially more for birth prep exercises. So you can inhale to come up and exhale, release the pelvic floor and drop down. So resist, lift pelvic floor as you come up, exhale, drop, let go of pelvic floor, let everything just kind of open. And then see whether you can start to drop a bit lower. And then you can start to incorporate that birth breath with it as well. So our birth breath is where more, the breath's not coming from our throat, it's coming deeper from our belly, okay? You really want the body to kind of open and let go. So the throat opens, you feel like the hips and the belly and everything opens within. So it's inhale up, exhale down. And you might do 10 of those, and then if you feel comfortable too, you can hold it at the bottom. Rest, breathe, close your eyes. You can incorporate those pelvic floor exercises, engaging, releasing, or you can just hold it here. And another thing that squats teach you as well is how you handle times of overwhelm or when things start to become challenging. And really in birth, we're faced with that. So as you're holding your squats, your legs may start to burn or your hips may start to burn or, I don't know, you start to fidget. What gets you through that sensation? Okay, is it breathing? Is it counting? Is it closing your eyes and meditating? Is it a gentle touch? So squats like this is a really good way to prepare you for birth and learn new mechanisms. And there you go. So there's some fabulous squat exercises and variations you can do throughout your pregnancy and to prepare you for birth. Any questions? Contact me anytime. I hope you're well and happy, and I'll connect with you again soon. Bye.